Welcome to all of you out there, my astrology friends. Welcome to this reading about the July horoscopes for, first of all, a tiny little bit in general, and then for all the signs. What is this month all about? It's one of the most exciting months of the year. And there is tons of things happening, but I'm going to stick to what I think as an astrologer is the most important. Of course, the most important during the month of July is the Venus retrograde. I've been talking about that. I have a separate video about that. If you're interested, go and have a look. Venus retrograde is in Leo, and it's going retrograde around and about the 24th of July, round about that date, depending where you're living, at 28 degrees of Leo. So it's going backwards and forwards. We're going to have a look at your chart, where this is and in what kind of area of life that is all about. But the thing is, it's not only about the Venus retrograde, which is all about reassessing something that has to do with Venus. It has to do with your values. Your value system, it's good for at a certain level to reassess it. It's also about love. For some people, it's about money because Venus represents money as well. But it's about choices. It's about what are we going to do? And in Leo, of course, it is with some drama, with some things that matters to the heart. Now, especially the month of July, during the whole month, as from the beginning up until the end, Venus squares to Uranus. So this is an indicator, a very important indicator that if we want to reassess something that considers that we think is important, the independence around it and being or wanting to be independent from something that we feel that we are a bit like this, it's going to be a huge topic here. So this Venus square Uranus, you could say, is an energy that is not tense, that is not easy, that is in a good way, us trying to get out of a rut, for sure, us to try new things, for sure, go for the excitement, for sure, but of course, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That is a lot with Uranus. So Uranus wants freedom and Venus wants love. So it's that combination of how we balance that out. And you can only imagine, right? In relationships, let's say you have this in your 7th house, and in relationships, it can mean that, someone else comes along just to trigger you of how to make you force you to reassess your current relationship. So it's very important how we, that we don't rush things too much, because that's the downside of Uranus. But ultimately, you can also say that Uranus is not going to take away things that are important for our development. So, but yes, if you are one of these people, like a job or a relationship that you're fed up with, this is good energy, actually, because it's an energy that gives you that excitement of an individualism of, I choose me and I'm not going to take that anymore. So it depends on your story. Some people will very much welcome this energy. Other people will be triggered and tempted, for sure, with this Venus square Uranus. So stay grounded is a huge important thing. Now, another thing with that this month is so interesting is not only the Venus square Uranus, and but it's also the Venus conjunct Mercury. And first of all, Venus will be before Mercury, and Mercury, because Venus is going retrograde, it's going to cross the Mercury. And that means that there are messages of love, messages of value that we are reassessing. So there is important information coming towards us. It's not only information, it also squares Uranus. So that means that there is a piece of information that we, certainly at the beginning of the month, are missing. And that is going to come to us unexpectedly. So it could be for good or for worse. Right? Information that we didn't expect that is going to come to us, and that is going to help us with this reassessment. And when is that? That Venus conjoining with Mercury is around at about the 27th, 28th of July. So it's more towards the end of the month. But meanwhile, stay grounded is the best advice I can give you. Again, if you are fed up with a relationship and with whatnot, it gives us courage and some individualism to cut the cords. But if the relationship or the job is still good for you, but just needs a reassessment of what is lacking for you during this moment, make sure that you're not, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and that you're reassessing. And with the current job, the current relationship, you do the talk, you do the conversation. Venus conjunct Mercury is very good for loving conversations, but square Uranus, it's about honesty. So very interesting month where a lot might happen. And so that's for July, first and foremost. And then the second thing that is very important is the North Node that is going to shift. The North Node is now in Taurus. The South Node is in Scorpio. And around at about the 18th of July, the nodes are going to shift into Libra and Aries. So the North Node is going to be in Aries. The South Node is going to be in Libra. What does it mean in general? Well, that we all are going to be a little bit more selfish. Of course, depending on your story, depending on what the area of life, I'm going to have a look at that as well. What is the area of your life that you want to be a little bit more selfish? You want to be a little bit more honest. You want to be a little bit more going for it and having the courage to explore what Aries is all about. So it's definitely an energy collectively to step away from the Libra energy. Not that it is bad energy, not at all. It's just a temporary energy, but it will be for the rest of the year, but and a part in next year as well. But it's about stepping away from the people pleasing, stepping away from always looking for the balance and always saying, yes, it's okay, and always compromising. So putting these two together, you could say it's quite of a rough month when it comes to relationships, when it comes to attachments. The more you are attached, the more difficult it becomes. The more you are codependent, the more difficult it becomes. The more you are involved, but also in relationships, in things outside of you, but also inside of you, the 50-50, you could say, the better. Because then we have more balance. And so definitely a very interesting month. And let's delve into this and what does it mean for each and every sign. By the way, I'm going to make another video separately. So if you want to explore more the Venus retrograde, there's always a video. There's already a video available for the North nodes that are shifting. I'm going to make a video probably next week. If you want to know more about this, what I'm talking about with the codependency, interdependency with the Venus square Uranus, do mention this in the comments below, because if I'm getting lots of questions about that, I'm going to make also a separate video of that. Okay, so if you are interested in knowing how to deal with this Venus-Uranus better, in a way of how to deal with it in a healthy way, and the different attachment styles that are not healthy, that are very much about Venus square Uranus, which is the fear of rejection, which is the avoidance style, versus the anxious attachment style. If you want to know more about that, I want to do a separate video, but only if you want that. Anyway, let's start with Aries. So Aries, this Venus square Uranus, for you, this Venus is in Leo. So remember, Leo, Aries, it's fire signs, is actually pretty good energy for you. And so the chances that this is going in a more positive way for you are bigger, because you are an fire sign. And this is in your 5th house of romance. So this is definitely about the heart chakra. This is definitely about exploring and wanting new things that are considered with matter of the heart. It could mean a relationship with children or around children, but also love. And also your own, the things that you do, the things that you do for enjoyment. So anything that you like to do for enjoyment. And with Uranus in the second house there, Uranus is, there's like, I want to be financially free. I want to do whatever I want to do. So I can do the things that relate to my fifth house. It's a bit that energy. So watch out, of course. Your watching out is about this Uranus in your second house, that you're not overdoing it in that house, that you're not overspending, that you are really careful with the balance between these two. But something needs to change when it comes to that fifth house for sure. You need to reassess your love attitude for sure. Where is it that you want change? Where is it in a current relationship that you want a bit more excitement? And how can you do that in a healthy way? Or where is it that you want to break that you want to break that open, and that you want to say like, look, this is not, I don't feel secure anymore? Because Uranus in the second house is like making your stability a bit more insecure. Now, but there's definitely a message. There could be a message of a lover. There could be a message of a child. There could be a message of that relates to a project that you want to do, or that you want to engage in. And there is some energy that is restless, but that needs to be addressed. So address it for sure. And but also, of course, with the combination of the North Node shifting in your first house, it's a lot about what do you need. So don't forget what you need in love relationships. Don't forget, you could say, yeah, but people who are Aries, they are always very much selfish and so on. But hey, you can have a moon in Libra, or you can have a moon in Taurus. And it's, we are not just that one particular sign, of course. But for Aries people, it's a sign that in the past, you have been a bit too committed, because the South Node is in your seventh house. So it's a sign for you, as from July already till the end of the year, that you have to take into account a little bit more yourself and what your needs are. And this is very important, not only because you're an Aries, but the North Node is in your sign. So it's a bit less about others. And I'm not saying here that you have to, when you're in a relationship, thank you very much, it's my way or the highway. No, but I'm saying like, take into account yourself a little bit more, come towards yourself a little bit more. Maybe you have even people pleasing too much in your relationships because of the fear of rejection. And that's not a healthy thing when we do that. So there's definitely a lot for you to work on, but I'll talk about that in the upcoming months, because this North Node is going to stay there for a long time. It's a huge, huge positive transit for you to grow, to put more time on you. So invest in yourself. What is investing? Even if you are single, and don't be needy, right? Invest in yourself. Who is it that you want to be? The dear Aries people, what kind of Aries person do you want to be? And if you're not there yet, make a plan, work on it. You've got that energy now to do so. Taurians, this Venus retrograde is interesting and an important one, because it's in the fixed sign, the Venus retrograde, and you are a fixed sign. This is happening at the bottom of your horoscope, this Venus, because it goes backwards and forwards in your fourth house, which is your emotional well-being. And literally, it's also literally your home, your family. And this squares up to Uranus in the first house. So there is tension. There's a lot of tension for Taurians during this month, and also, during the Venus retrograde up until October, because there is something that needs to be reassessed. And it has to do with you, because you want to break out and you want to break free, and I want to break free is definitely your song. And it's good to do so. It's good to do so. But it's also important to question yourself, how far can I go in that independence has a price, right? That independence has a price that has to do with your emotional stability. So what do I need emotionally to feel secure? And how can I relate to others in a more healthy, independent way? Because Uranus in the first house, indirectly, it has to do with your relationships. So, and you want more freedom, you yourself, and more independence in your relationships, for sure, no matter what kind of degree you have this Uranus in Taurus. And that is a good thing. But really is important that the emotional security, can you give yourself the emotional security if you get more the independence, and the price that it has the price that you have to pay for more independence is a fear that you have to be able to deal with of rejection. So that is a very important one, but I think you will figure this out very, very strongly, and because you've got months to do this. And it is really about establishing the nourishment you establish, you being your own mom, basically, because the fourth house has to do with the mother figure. It's the Cancerian house, and it has to do with how you can provide yourself. So the more you are secure within you, the more you can go for your freedom. So work on that. Work on that. It's definitely the energy that is around you. Now, as from the 18th of July, the North Node is not going to be in your sign anymore. It's going to shift into Aries, which is your 12th house. So the focus on being very much on your growth is now shifting towards the 12th house, which is the house of letting go, the house of letting go of old patterns, the house of letting go of parts of yourself that are not healthy anymore, and going towards the focus on in a positive way to let go. So not the thing about the North Node in the 12th house, the pitfall, is escaping. So you have to watch out of that. You're not trying to escape in a not healthy way. You can escape in a healthy way by many things, right? By giving yourself peace, by being alone every now and then, walking down the sea, and having those long walks, and just to calm your spirit, basically, because you're going to need it with all these changes that are coming up for you, for sure. Geminis, this is a rather light Venus retrograde for you. We already said that because you are an air sign, and the Venus retrograde is in a fire sign, and that goes well. It's in your third house. And this reassessment is definitely about the information that is going to be picked up. You in particular, you could be getting a message of love. You could be giving a message of love. And it squares up to the 12th house. So this is like, could be a message even from other realms, so to speak. But it could also be a message that comes to you through a dream. It could also be a message that is making the unconscious conscious, which is a beautiful thing. And together with that, you can develop definitely a better way of understanding things on a day-to-day basis. And this Venus-Mercury crossing that is happening for you, I mean, you are ruled by Mercury. So around the 27th, 28th is a very important day for you, or some days for you, because this Venus-Mercury, be open for that message. Or if you really have to say a message that is important for you, that is honest, that you are afraid, that you fear the rejection, I would suggest doing it anyway around those days, because it's a good energy then. Or it could be the other way around, that people are saying a message to you that is very honest, and that is really interesting for you to communicate, to think, to deal with other people in a different way. So the third house is really siblings, neighbors. It's people that you meet on a daily basis. It's that sort of people. And the North Node is shifting into your 11th house, which is lovely. The North Node has been in your 12th house for a long time, showing you the way to encounter the unconsciousness in a healthy way. But the focus is now more on the 11th house, which is your goals for the future, and it's in Aries. Again, this is very, very nice energy for you with sextiling your energy again. And the 11th house is your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your goals for the future. There could be new goals and friends as well. There could be more exploration of friendships, developments, and that are very good for you for the future. So doing things with groups, like-minded people is very interesting for you. If you have your own business, doing 11th house stuff is going to be very important for you. It's the social media house. It's the house where also, if you have your own business, it's a money house. So that could go, it's a really good time for you to go big there and to grow. Cancerians, this is the Venus retrograde is happening in your 2nd house. So this for you, and squaring up to Uranus in your 11th. So for you, this is all about your worth. Who do you want to be? I've been talking about that in the video of the Venus retrograde as well. So a lot is reassessed here about the person that not only you want to attract in your life, or the people that you want to attract in your life and that you want to deal with, but also what you bring to the table. What is it that you bring to the table and that you like and that you don't like about yourself? And you can eliminate that, and you can also attract it. So because of this square to the 11th house, the 11th house where Uranus is the house of your goals, your wishes for the future, your friends. So they can be a great stimulation for you to make that re-evaluation. And they can even say shocking things to you, or you say shocking things to them, but it leads to that re-evaluation of the self. So they can be very helpful to do this. And but of course, there could also be a very important conversation being done around when this Venus Mercury is shifting. Not shifting, but crossing over each other. It could be very important conversations that has to do with a friend or friends, that has to do with your self-worth, and that is going to change everything. So because it's so honest and so open, and it could also mean like when you are single and a conversation with a friend can really make sure that this friendship is developing in a totally different way, and for better or for worse. It depends on your story, of course, but also some goals for the future. You have to also, with this combination, you have to watch out. This is something that a pitfall, dear Cancerians. With this Uranus in your 11th house, there is a tendency, goals that you're going to do something for the future very quickly, out of the blue, to free yourself up because you're fed up with it. And the 2nd house is money house as well. So be aware that you're not around those days, around actually the whole month, that you're not going to buy something or that is of the 2nd house is not only clothes and anything, it's big things like cars and houses and computers and expensive things, so that you're not making big expenses without thinking. So you have to be aware that you're a bit more tempted to do that. And again, why do you want to do that? So if you feel that urge to buy something big, and ask yourself the question, but why do I want this? What is it serving to me? What does it give me? And fill in that blank, fill in the answer. Now, the North Node is shifting towards your 10th house. So the North Node has been in your 11th house, so giving you the right, you could say, the people that are like-minded, the friends. It could have been like a totally new group of people or new associations or new friends or friend that was important. You've got that now. And the North Node shifts into the 10th house, which is more a visible house. It's the house of career. So there could be a new direction there, a new sort of place that you want to go when it comes to career, a growth for sure, and a change for sure that matches you better. Or it could, if you say, Veerle, I'm retired, I'm not working, it has to do with your social status. So there could be a shift in your social status as well, because the midheaven is your second ascendant. So status, with social status, I mean from, for instance, having no kids going towards having kids, being single, being married, being divorced, and so on and so on. So something shifts around the social status is also a possibility. But again, this is something that is not only for July, this stays there for the rest of the year. Leos, of course, Leo, how are you doing? This is this Venus retrograde in your sign, and it squares up to Uranus in the 10th. So there's definitely things that you want to change about yourself, that you're reassessing. And I talked about that in the Venus retrograde as well. That it's a lot about what in relationships, what can I bring to the table in this relationship, and what is that other person bringing to the table in that relationship. It could also, because Uranus in the 10th house, again, it's social status, the social status can shift from being single to being together, being married to being divorced, and so on, having no kids to getting pregnant and having kids. There's something shifting there that other people also see. But the main thing is to reassess yourself, to reassess your value. Who, dear Leo, do you want to be in the future? And who is it that you want to be that you're not today, and that you can change about yourself? It could mean the looks. It could mean like you're saying, okay, where I want to be, it's 10 kilos lighter. Okay, and you can work on that and make a plan. And because the energy is very good for that, to implement that. And especially with Mars getting into Virgo around the 11th of July, in the second house, you can really work hard for the confidence and that you want more in your life. So of course, it's also taking steps to get to somewhere where you're not today. That is what this Venus retrograde is all about. You can achieve that by doing the work as well. And that is self-love. We have like the standards that we have in our heads. Where is it? Where do you want to put the bar? Where do you want to put the standard? And if you're not there yet, it's a huge proof of self-love that you accept that and that you're doing the steps. So therefore, it's a very good energy. Of course, with the Venus retrograde, during the retrograde, it's not the best to get a new haircut that is very, very different as from what you've used to, because during the retrograde, that is during the 24th of July up until the 5th of September, because you might regret it afterwards. But if the same with surgeries and whatnot, plastic surgeries or maybe doing something. But the thing is, this is very personal, do you have to do this or not? But when you already did something, this retrograde, let's say you already did some beauty things for your face or whatnot. I mean, all those kind of treatments. I don't know those names, but you probably know them, or some of you know them. So if you've done already something, it could mean in the Venus retrograde that you have to go back to do some retouching, and that's a good thing. For sure, to beautify. So it depends on this Venus retrograde. It depends on your story, but definitely things to improve. If it's not really that much your looks, it's definitely about how you see yourself and how you value yourself. And that's going to have a knock-on effect on other people. So that's going to have a knock-on effect on your connections and relationships. There could be things happening there that you say to yourself, ooh, is this what I want for the future? Am I going to regret something in the future? And if the answer is yes, you don't do it, period. It all sounds simple, doesn't it? But anyway, then the North Node for you is shifting in a fellow fire sign. So it's shifting from that 10th house of yours that had to do with your status, that had to do with work. It's shifting into the 9th house. That is amazing because the North Node in your 9th house is like an eye opener. It's like you seeing things in a broader perspective. And that is always going to make your life lighter, whatever you're going to deal with, because this energy of Aries is trining your energy. And the North Node in the 9th can mean more travel, more studies, more understanding of you are an element of the whole, and therefore you accept life way more. So very interesting energy indeed. Virgos, this Venus in your 12th house. This is a bit of a tricky position because Venus in the 12th house. The 12th house is a hidden house. So it squares up to Uranus in the 9th house. So there is a tendency here to, with Venus in the 12th house, let's start with at its best. At its best, it could mean that you are very caring, you are very compassionate towards others, and you know that this period of time, when this Venus is so long in the 12th house, it's a bit more about giving to others and being compassionate, maybe doing some work like charity and things like that. It's an amazing moment to do so. And I'm not saying that you have to sacrifice yourself. That's not healthy. That's the negative side of Venus in the 12th house. But it's definitely about, some things you just can't, you have to let go of things that are going the way that they are going, especially in love. And so if you do that in the giving towards others with the healthy boundaries, of course, not giving to them because you want to fix them, that is a trait of the Virgo that is not so healthy. But just because you don't want something in return, that's the key. So if you want to work with this energy very well, give something to someone who needs it very much, but that you don't expect anything in return, then you will be fine with this energy. Now, because it squares up to Uranus, a lot of Virgos will feel like unrequited love, or they will be, if you are in a relationship, for instance, it can mean that you don't feel valued by your partner, or you feel like they're not seeing you and you're craving for that attention, you're craving for their love. It could mean like that. That is just a point in your relationship where that happens. When you're single, for instance, you could be falling for someone who's not reachable, or you could be wanting someone that is just, there's a private thing around it. There's something that you cannot show. There's something that, and it's in Leo, it's quite, I want to show them my love, but I can't, because of circumstances. Some people can, maybe you are gay and you're falling for a man who's not gay. You see, that kind of thing. Those things happen. And so again, how you deal with that is giving without wanting to receive to the people that are good for you, of course. So, but also it can mean, I'm not judging here, it can mean a secret love. Absolutely. With this Uranus in the 9th house, that is, the 9th house is connected to people from abroad or to travel. There could be something happening there behind the scenes, and that is secretive. Absolutely. But who am I to judge? Some people, they have to go through these things to know what, to experience that. I mean, again, no judgment here. But if you are saying, I would regret that, start with doing the giving and the, the good-heartedness that most Virgos have. I mean, Virgos are all about service, and you can do really something good with this energy as well. So it's about knowing thyself, isn't it? Always. And the North Node is shifting into your 8th house. So that is also an important one, that the North Node from the 9th house, where you have gained more perspective, broader, maybe traveling or learning and so on, goes into the Scorpionic 8th house. It can be a little bit more crisis prone, so that there needs to be some transformations going on. So it's certainly in combination with that Venus in the 12th, all this privateness going on, all this secrecy going on, all this emphasis on transformation. And the North Node in the 8th house, although it's not the easiest, it certainly is going to show you who you truly are and also your shadow. So make sure that you're not running away from your shadow, that you're not like the wiseacre Virgo pointing to other people, that you project your own shadow towards, that you investigate what's going on here. What is it that I need to transform? So you're very much in a transition period here with all this energy behind the scenes. But the North Node in the 8th can also definitely mean being interested in the occult, in hidden knowledge, to investigate, to know yourself better, to go inwards and to reflect. Interest in deep energy there. Librans, this is happening, this Venus retrograde in your 11th house, and it squares up to the 8th. So it is quite fun, this Venus retrograde for you, because Leo goes well with Libra. It's a sextile, and it's in your very social house. So I really love this for you. You could be really you're one of those people where a friendship could become a little bit more, if you want that to, with Uranus there in the 8th house of intimacy all of a sudden. So be aware if that is possible or not possible, or what are the consequences going to be. Remember, this Uranus is a lot about wanting to free yourself up, but do you really want it? Or you're not going to regret it? These questions are very important to ask. But in general, this 11th house and this Venus, it could mean a love message coming to you. Are you giving that? Because you are Venus, of course, and Venus Mercury crossing in the 11th house could be definitely some romance in the friendship house, for sure, depending on if you want that or not. So this could be happening. On another level, this is about your goals for the future. If you have a business of your own, you could be dealing with investments here, but there is a warning. A warning is that not going over the top with loans and with investments, especially if you're not stable. So be aware of that because of this Venus-Uranus aspect that I'm seeing here. So consult very well, be very smart, and be very economical, right? What is economical? Make sure nothing more goes out than you have. If you don't have it, it's a risk here. It's a risky energy. But that's it, it's a time also to socialize. It could mean friends coming back from the past and having lovely conversations and that help you to also face your darkness and to understand yourself better on a psychological level. And the North Node shifting in your 7th house. So dear Librans, the North Node has been for a long time in this 8th house, which is not the easiest position. It's about crises, it's about growth because of that, but now it shifts into your 7th house of relationships. So if you are single, this is a good sign. This could mean that someone new is coming into your life. And this means definitely, even if you are in a relationship, that be focused towards others, because others, they are going to help you to grow faster than anything else or any situation. So yes, definitely for people who want a relationship, it's a good sign. For people who want, and it's a lot about parts of you, your identity that you're going to let go of. If you're struggling with the people-pleasing syndrome, you could say, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. You've got this whole year to work on that. And then you will find better connections, better relationships, because, the people pleaser, which is already very common with people who've got Libra energy, there is a reason why they please. So find out what reason is for you. Is it because you fear the rejection? Is it because you want the validation? And remember, the validation, it's never going to be enough. It's better that it comes from within you. So, but there is a focus, strangely enough, it's a very paradoxical energy here. There is a focus on other people, and other people can help you with that. Consulting is a great energy here, to consult someone like a therapist, a doctor, a dentist, a chiropractor, you name it, someone who can help you, a coach, could be really changing your life. Scorpios, this is happening in your 10th house, this Venus retrograde, squaring up to the 7th house where Uranus is. So this is a very important Venus retrograde because you are a fixed sign. So there could be tons of things happening basically, but Venus retrograde in the 10th house gives you the opportunity to reassess your work. But at the same time, you're also reassessing your very important relationships. And when you are with someone, there could be this other person appearing in your life. Maybe that's relating to the workplace that is triggering you. And that is triggering you that, it could be a very big infatuation. But remember, it's there to question your current relationship. And of course, when you have to go for that and you give in to that attraction, it will have those consequences. So you have to be really, really careful here and ask yourself, what am I doing or what do I want in the long run? And you've got time for this with this Venus retrograde. When you're not in a relationship, this can be huge and you could say your fear of relating, your fear of being hurt and rejection can diminish here, and the desire to connect with others can become stronger, and therefore you take that step. Especially if you've been single for a long time, this could be just a transit that you need so that you explore again. And I would suggest you detach yourself from the outcome if that is the case. That is going to be the best for you. But the North Node is shifting. So from that attention and that wanting to explore other people, it shifts towards your 6th house, where the North Node is, to your day-to-day routines, how you can improve them, your work as well. So if you want to have a new job or a new work that suits you better, that is more newness, more exploring, it's very much on the agenda here. And this North Node is not only for July, it stays there for the rest of the year. So a very interesting energy to also improve your health. The physical health, like doing exercises and all of that, starting with that can really, really help you a lot. Sagittarians, this is lovely. This is lovely. And I'm a Sagittarius rising, and I'm so content that this is happening and that I can give you to my fellow Saggies with the Sag rising or the sun or the moon in Sag, that I can give this good news. And this is about this Venus retrograde in your 9th house. It's your house. The 9th house is your house. You're going to have this Venus, Mercury together in that 9th house over there, squaring up to Uranus in the 6th house. So it could be a little bit unstable in your day-to-day life, and that it's difficult for you to have rhythm and to have discipline in your day-to-day tasks. But I think you will be fine because of this beautiful trine of your energy with the Leo energy. If you're looking for love, my goodness me, it's definitely there. And it's in the 9th house, so you could be falling in love abroad. And all of a sudden, it could happen all of a sudden with this Uranus there. And with the Venus crossing the Mercury, which is the ruler of your 7th house, you could get a message from someone about love. And it's very from the heart, it's good. If you do travel, you could go to places that you already have been. And that could be amazing. We're going to have fun there with the Venus and the Mercury there. You're going to have fun for sure. And that is definitely about the bigger picture, you feeling very much in your element, you being very aware of the connection of the higher, you could say the divine. So it's definitely because of the divine, the connection that you have with it, it's like you're more in line and it's easier for you. You accept more. If it's going to come, okay, it's good. Like, for instance, you're single and you're going out there and you meet someone and you're in that state of, well, if it's coming, it's okay. If it's not coming, it's also okay. And guess what? What's going to happen? Probably more if it's meant to be. It's that kind of energy that I'm seeing here for you. And that is super, super exciting. It's the whole month of July that you're having this square to Uranus. So doing things that you've never done before, or but again with an element of recognition because of the Venus retrograde. And then, if it's not enough, the North Node is shifting into your fifth house. Isn't that amazing? I mean, from the North Node in the sixth house, where there was an emphasis on new work routines, on health, it shifts into the fifth house, which is like the universe saying to you, have more pleasure, have more excitement, do more things that you enjoy, do more things that you love to do, that your heart wants. And it's great for romance again. So you could be really, really meeting someone that you really, really like. That could be also awaken that enthusiastic child inside of you. Your fifth house is all about Aries. It's all about being very active with love. I mean, sexuality can go to the roof with this energy. But it's also just the things that you enjoy. If you enjoy to go running and jet skiing and whatever, it's a bit, daring because it's in Aries here. So a lot about for you is not so much like fitting in with friends and what do they want, and that's the South Node in Libra, but it's about what do you want and going after it. I'm going into play now for Virgos. I know I just did Virgo, but this is another thing that I want to say for Virgos because I forgot it. And I know Virgos are very like, the devil is in the detail. I forget to say something that is really important for you, Virgos. It's Mars in your sign. As from the 11th, so Mars in your sign as from the 11th is very important. That means new beginnings for you. And if you want to start something new that is important for your life path, whether it is a job, a connection, or you have to say, it's going to be good for you to speak your to stay grounded and to say what you want to say, to be very, very assertive, not arrogant. Thank you very much. We don't want that. We want assertive. No is a no and a yes is a yes. It's very direct energy. So you're going to have that. But Mars opposes Saturn on the 21st of July. So there it is. Those days are not the days to go full force. Okay, so that's because Saturn is in your seventh house. And those are the days where you have to, doing a bit the Tai Chi there, feel what's going on. If you push a little bit and you feel that you get restriction, you back off a little bit again. So that it's an important message that I just wanted to say. So this was an extra for the Virgos. Anyway, I'm going to have tons of comments around that as well. So help each other out, please. If in the comments they're saying, what about the Mars and Virgo? Anyway, now let's shift in towards Capricorns. Capricorns, this Venus retrograde is in your 8th house, and it's squaring up to the 5th house. You're also having your Capricornian full moon around the 3rd. So things are really opening up for you. But at the same time, with the Venus retrograde in the 8th, it's a very interesting transit because Venus is money. It's also resources of other people. And there is a tendency there of backwards and forwards that money could come your way, basically. Let's start with that. Money could come your way, but there could be some backwards and forwards all of a sudden because this squares up to Uranus in your 5th house. So that could come from a lover, children, or a project. So that there is like money coming towards you, but not as fast as you want it. Trust that it will come, because when Venus goes direct around the first week of September, the 5th of September and onwards, you are going to attract money, you are going to attract resources. But first, there seems to be something that needs to be cleared out there. And it's about value of the self. It's about also, you're going to attract it faster if you go introspecting, if you deserve what's coming to you. It's a bit like, and accepting that what is coming to you will come to you, and to trust in that. That was the word that I was looking for, to trust in it. Even if you're dependent or seem to be dependent on others, this could mean like an inheritance. And there are children involved, or there are other people, a lover is involved or whatnot. And it could mean that it's a bit more complex. or an investment, or money that you share with a spouse, or with someone that you share in a business, and you want something, be aware of that trust that it will come to you. You do you. Don't force, with the Venus in the 8th house, don't force towards other people. It's going to backfire. Don't try to manipulate either. It's not going to work. It's going to work actually against you. But stand above it is a bit like stand above your own ego. And that's what you're learning. And be compassionate towards also other people, that it's easy for you now to put a finger towards others. But because the 8th house is a shadow house, so it might bring up some shadows around fear of rejection, and certainly in Leo, it's like, they're not doing it, they're not giving it, I'm not going to give it either. That kind of a bit childish kind of reaction, but that is very much possible now, and be aware of it. Know thyself, and position yourself in a way that you're grounded, that you do what you need to do. And then the universe will give you what is supposed to be given to you. So the North Node is shifting into your 4th house. So a lot of this could also deal with property, that you're going to buy and sell, some property with the North Node shifting there. And there's a lot of that as well, to emotionally secure yourself better. So that, because that's the purpose of this North Node shifting into your 4th house. It's establishing more, you could say, more emotional security, and not needing that from the exterior, but from within. You giving it to you giving the validation. Venus in the 8th house can give you validation from others, but not when you're demanding it. It's not working. Imagine that someone wants something from you. You feel that energy. It's not healthy. It's ugh. So it's a lot about that. It's a very interesting energy that is a bit behind the scenes. All these things are going on in water houses, so people are not seeing this, but you're doing the inner work for sure. Aquarians, wow, this Venus retrograde in your 7th house. This is all about love. This is all about a love message as well, that you are going to give, or that also other people can give to you, with this Venus Mercury in your 7th house around the 27th of the month. And it squares up to Uranus in your 4th house. So this is all about relationship validation that you're getting from it, but also what do you bring on the table? Is it good for you to demand validation from others if you are not giving what you're wanting yourself? That kind of energy. And Uranus can make you feel very, very insecure when it comes to your safety, because Uranus is there in your 4th house. And the safety, you could be really, with this Venus square Uranus, a lot of teams of unhealthy attachment styles could play out here. So it is either you being the avoidant because someone is too clingy, or you being the anxious one because you feel that you're losing them, and the natural thing that you're doing is clinging. And so my advice is to let them be, to give them the space, and to secure yourself, and to Uranus in the 4th house is a tricky one. It shows that there's only one person that can give you peace, and it's you. And I mean peace on an emotional level. And the more you're trying to find it outwardly, outwards of you, it can be possible, but not now anymore. And it even gives you more that emptiness. So it's a lot about emotional fulfillment, that the more you give it to you, the better you're going to have relationships, the better your relationship are going to function. And that's a very deep one. Now, meanwhile, the North Node is shifting from that 4th house. So you did already a lot of work around this, trying to stabilize, trying to nurture yourself. The 4th house is the house of the mother. It's the house of the Cancerium. So you have been doing a lot of work there. And now this North Node shifts into your third house, which is the things, how you, in a simple way, understand stuff and how you gather information and how you process that information in a good way and in a healthy way. And in a direct way without, a lot of fuzz around it or manipulation around it, or a very honest and truthful communication. That is coming your way with the North Node in the third house. Also, your neighbors, siblings, they can help you in growing very fast now, growing very fast as a person, where you establish the person that you want to be. And last but not least, Pisceans, this is happening in your sixth house. So this Venus in your sixth house squares up to Uranus in the third. So this is all about your reassessing your day-to-day life. There's something about your day-to-day life that you love, because it's Venus after all. And there could be some good communications with, you could say, with people from your work that are work related. On a day-to-day level, you could have some really good thoughts as well, especially around the 27th. Information comes to you that relates to your work. Maybe you're dealing with a change in work as well. And all of a sudden, you're waiting for that letter, for that interview invitation, and it comes. Uranus in that third house. But it's definitely a re-evaluation as well of how you do that work, how you want to do it in the future. And of course, also improving your day-to-day life. So there's definitely for you a tendency for a better day-to-day. It's in the small things, the sixth house is the house of the Virgo. And it's that house that has to do with discipline. It's that house that has to do with these things. And it's also a good house to take care of your health. And it's going to be a little bit easier for you with this Venus and Mercury there. And some new thoughts could come your way in improving your health and in some regime, what you eat as well, and what you want to do, there for sure. And it's definitely in a way that prompts you towards a better enjoyment of your day-to-day life. And that can really come towards some information that comes to you through a sibling, through the neighborhood, or people from the neighborhood that give you that information, and so that you validate those small things more in life. And this North Node for you is shifting into your 12th house, second house, sorry. So for the third house, you already did a lot of work with growth around your connections on a day-to-day basis, your connections of people in the neighborhood, people that you work with, your siblings, and so on. And now the focus shifts to the second house, which is money. So the North Node in the second house is good to attract more money that you do the hustling for. And but it's related to your self-worth. So the North Node in the second house is like the universe screaming to you, like, work on yourself, work on rising your self-worth. And with the North Node there, it's definitely on. Of course, it's with doing the work and doing the steps, because this is going to stay there for quite a long time. Certainly the whole year. And it shows like, if you have some goals, like, yes, I want to, like, for instance, you want to have a new job, and but they ask that you have to speak Spanish, right? Instead of going the guilt trip and I can't speak Spanish and that was the perfect job for me. I'm exaggerating here, but anyway, you can learn the job, right? So that is what I mean by investing in the self. Certainly, if you want that job, maybe it's not for now, but you learn that language in Spanish, and maybe within a couple of months, you are strong enough and you feel the confidence, which is the second house, to go for that job. It's that kind of thing. It's very good energy to invest in yourself, and to not be the South Node in Libra for you is definitely of not caring now of what other people are saying. I know it's a big one, and but it's because you need to have that focus on you and what suits you. Another thing is that Mars is going to shift around the 11th in your 7th house. So relationships could become a little bit more tricky, a bit on a positive level, a bit more fiery, a bit more sexual, a bit more energetic. Certainly if you are single and you want to meet someone new, not something new, but someone new, it could be a very fiery person so if you like that, that's great. On the challenge here is if you are in a current relationship, you could attract a little bit more that they are going to stand their ground a little bit more. But compromise here is the message, because they have a reason. They have a reason to stand their ground. Anyway, having said that, thank you so much for watching. I wish you a very good July horoscopes and see you next time. Bye-bye.